A brand new redesigned iPhone may be coming way sooner than we thought. This is super exciting. Plus, we've got some great news on the all-new iPads coming soon. A surprise spring event could actually be happening now, and the mini iPhone might actually be coming back. This is a week full of lots of surprises in the wild world of Apple, so let me break down all the good news, some bad news, all the leaks, the rumors, everything you need to know about the Apple news right now in this video. So a few weeks ago, we had heard that Apple could be holding a big spring event sometime, well, this spring. It'd be like a successor to the jam-packed spring loaded event we got a couple of years ago that could give us a really good slew of new products. We could get new iPads, we'd be getting some Mac updates, maybe some new AirPods. There was a whole lot to get excited about, and sort of was nice because it was hyping up the new Apple stuff we could see. But then the closer we got to a spring event potentially happening, well, things sort of fizzled out and we learned that it probably wasn't gonna happen after all, but well, now maybe that's changed. There's been an uptick in speculation over the last couple of days that maybe Apple could hold a spring event and show off a couple of new products to us in something more significant than just sort of a press release drop on their website, which does sort of make sense given that these iPad updates are supposed to be pretty significant. We're getting new screen technology, an all new iPad Air, and also given the fact that iPads haven't been updated in over a year, and also some other products we could see, this would make sense for Apple to give us a little bit more of a significant sort of introduction to these things than just, hey, it's on the website, here's a press release and a couple of photos for you to check out. Now, to make it clear, we don't have any concrete evidence right now that suggests this is going to happen, but if we look at what Apple did last year, they did do something similar. Remember back in early 2023, there was that weird like January virtual event video drop where Apple just sort of gave us a 10, 15 minute mini event where they introduced some all new products. And it was weird because it seemed like it was sort of a actual Apple event or a segment of an event just cut out and put on its own sort of a video and released to the internet. It was sort of a weird strategy, but I did think it made sense because those were some more significant updates for Apple to discuss. And the same thing could be here, sort of true as well. Maybe they don't go all out with inviting media or doing like some hour-long spring event. They don't have enough to fill that time, but for like a 10-15 minute video where Tim or Craig could get on there and just sort of highlight this new stuff, that might be worth it and does make sense as something we could see over the next couple of weeks before WWDC. And speaking of those new products, we actually do have a couple of exciting updates to share on what we could be seeing with these new iPads. Obviously, the story with iPad Pro is OLED display, potentially MagSafe support, camera would be moving to the landscape orientation, maybe a matte screen option, that would be cool to see as well. And then on the iPad Air, we knew Apple was going to do a larger version. We knew it was going to be 12.9 inches, but now we're actually learning it could be a mini LED display, which would be quite the display upgrade for the iPad Air lineup, which also does make sense given the fact that Apple has been sort of mass producing mini LED panels at this size for a while with the iPad Pro. So for them to sort of bring this down to the iPad Air makes a lot of sense and could be a win-win all the way around. Apple could sort of save some money since they've already gone through the trouble of having to produce these things. We get a better screen on the iPad Air, and the higher-end OLED display will be reserved for the 11 and 12.9 inch iPad Pros. As good as that is though, there is some concern on what pricing could be with that move to mini LED. Right now, the iPad Air starts at $599, so maybe $799 would be an appropriate number for this larger iPad. But then if you look at the iPad line right now, you'll notice the iPad Pro starts at $799, which would be a little bit of a conflict. But remember that because Apple's moving to OLED on the Pros, those prices are likely going to go up. So iPad Pros will likely have a greater starting price tag. So maybe $799 makes sense for the iPad Air 12.9. I'm not sure. Mini LED would be really cool to see. And again, I think a larger, cheaper iPad Air makes sense. But Apple's got to make sure they don't go too expensive because then it sort of defeats the purpose of a larger, cheaper screen, or sort of cheaper model that the iPad Air is supposed to be. But that is not all we could be getting at this spring announcement, because there are a couple other things that have been sort of kicking around in the product pipeline that could be ready to go. Like I mentioned earlier, some all-new AirPods Max Gen 2, long overdue. A lot of rumors coming out lately about lower-cost AirPods. Those could make their debut. Maybe some higher-end Macs, like the Mac Studio and Mac Pro, which are in need of some higher end M3 silicon, and then potentially a curveball here, an all new HomePod. Yes, HomePod Gen 3 might be coming sooner than we thought due to a lot of recent leaks about one of the big new features of this new HomePod, which is a full-fledged display on top. Now, I guess technically the HomePods we have now do have displays on top, though they're kind of worthless and don't really do anything. But a couple of new leaks recently suggested a full-fledged screen could be going on top of HomePods that could become way more useful. This could maybe show you incoming messages. It could be able to show you Siri results. It could show you music and more in-depth playback controls. A screen on here actually could make a lot of sense. And also I think that most people actually like HomePods. The hardware is good, the audio sound quality and sound fidelity is good. I think the biggest issue most people have with HomePods, myself included, is that Siri just plain sucks. But given all of these rumors about Siri getting better and getting a big overhaul in June at WWDC, maybe this actually is a really good time to refresh the HomePod, because not only would you be getting an all new version, you'd be getting the great sound quality and this useful display, but now you would have a system using Siri that'd be better able to take advantage of that display and actually show you useful information. Actually would make a lot of sense and might be something we see much sooner than we thought. Bloomberg is also reporting that another product Apple is working on right now is a camera built into an all-new Apple TV little set-top box. Now, the camera functionality on Apple TV kind of does exist right now. You can use your phone with FaceTime or Zoom to have those calls. That's super cool. But not only would a built-in camera be better, which is what this box would do, but we're also hearing that gesture support could be built into this as well, which actually I think would make a lot of sense given what Apple is doing with Vision Pro. They've really done a great job with natural hand controls. The hand tracking is really cool. And this would be a great example of them taking some of the higher end tech from their more expensive products like Vision Pro and bringing it down to a more consumer friendly, much more attainable thing. So you can sort of sit back and maybe, flick through your shows and select like you would on Vision Pro. That actually would make a lot of sense and would be really, really cool if Apple could pull it off in a new Apple TV. Not sure if this could launch as soon as HomePod, but definitely something to keep in mind. All right, next up, let's talk iPhones, because we've got a couple of wild iPhone rumors we've got to talk about here in this video. One that's making a lot of people happy, but you probably won't be happy for long. That's because a new report coming out over the last couple of days suggests that the iPhone 17 Plus, this is 2025's phone, would be a smaller screen size than the current 6.7-inch phone we've got with the 15 Plus and the upcoming 16 Plus. Now, when this headline started to make its rounds, many people first jumped online and said, oh, the mini iPhone's coming back. Apple's gonna make a smaller iPhone. It's finally happening. This is great, which would be nice, but there are two problems. One is that the plus size iPhone going mini doesn't make a lot of sense. The plus size screen is bigger, so if it's not 6.7, maybe it's 6.5 or 6.4. I don't think it's gonna go down that small. And also, I hate to break it to you, but Apple did a mini phone with the 12 mini and the 13 mini, and by all accounts, it sucked. Like, it just didn't sell, and everyone who said they wanted it actually didn't really buy it, and because that phone sort of flopped, Apple canceled that. They moved to a Plus alternative phone, and that's how the story went. So as much as people say they want a mini iPhone, sales didn't convert, and I don't know if Apple would ever bring back a mini iPhone again. It's a nice dream. Maybe if you want an iPhone SE, that's the smaller screen iPhone option for you, but think that a smaller Plus could be coming, but not gonna go down to the mini size, unfortunately. Actually, speaking of the iPhone SE 4, I do wanna bring to your attention a couple of interesting things about this phone. One is that, by all accounts, according to the rumors, it's gonna be a really significant upgrade to Apple's cheapest end phone. We're talking an iPhone 14 style design, Touch ID is out, Face ID is in, we're gonna get an action button on this phone, we're gonna get a 48 megapixel camera, USB-C, better battery life, better chip, OLED screen. Really good specs for a budget tier iPhone. But also I think it's interesting that we've seen a big uptick in leaks on this phone over the last couple of weeks that sort of put it in line to where we are with the iPhone 16 line. We've seen alleged CAD dummy models of this phone. We've even seen cases begin to leak of what the case structure for the iPhone SE 4 could look like. And it is interesting because given that it's sort of following the timeline of the iPhone 16, that could suggest a launch is coming much sooner than we thought. Apple usually had done SE phones every 2 years. So we did 2020, we got one, 22, we got the other. So an iPhone SE 4, I know I'm missing a version there, but iPhone SE 4 in 2024 would make sense. But the last we heard about a release for this phone, a lot of rumors suggested 2025. So everyone, I think, mostly assumes it's going to come next year. But given the uptick in rumors and given where we are in the leak cycle, maybe a launch sometime this year actually isn't all that crazy. Again, I wish I had insider info on it. I don't, but as someone who tracks a lot of these leaks and looks at how things and patterns go each year, it is a lot more leaks for a phone that's setting to be released next year than we'd normally see. So I don't think an iPhone SE 4 launch sometime this year, maybe this fall, is totally out of the question. I'm super excited to see what this lower end iPhone has to bring to the table. Hopefully Apple doesn't adjust the price too much and they still keep it a very value-packed budget option. But yeah, something to consider is if you're looking for a new low-cost iPhone, might be coming sooner than 2025. At least I'm gonna hope it is. All right, everybody, so what are your thoughts on the Apple news of the week? Your thoughts on a new HomePod with a screen? Your thoughts on the iPhone leaks? Your thoughts on what a surprise spring event may or may not look like? Let me know your thoughts down below. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for always tuning in to get your Apple news from yours truly. I appreciate it. I love making these videos and I appreciate you guys watching. So thank you so much. I'm Robert Rosenfeld and I'll see you all in the next one.